My name is Josh Holsopple. I'm the Director of Sports Performance here at Klemic Performance Method. We're a 7,200 square foot facility in Summers Point, New Jersey. The owner and founder is Coach David Klemic. He's famous for being the fastest on the Kansas City Chiefs in 2001. He ran a 4.2840, and he was named one of the top 5 fastest people ever coached by Chip Smith, who is the godfather of sports performance. So today we're going to go over how to run a faster 40-yard dash. This is simple when you break it down and you understand the actual way that this race is run. All right, so first things first, the 40-yard dash is an acceleration test. It is not a speed test. So you running max velocity and you going out and running on the track and joining your track team, well, yes, it will build some very good physical qualities. It is not going to change your 40-yard dash. I've seen this firsthand many, many times, where athletes tell me in the spring, instead of training in here in the facility, they're going to go run track. They go run track. They come back to the facility in the summertime, and they are slower, and they run all of their camps throughout summer at a slower 40-yard dash time than they would have been if they just stayed with us after winter into their spring. So we're going to break down why. Max velocity is built in the first 10 yards, meaning that your first 10 build the momentum for the rest of your race. If you run a slow 10, the ability for you to get up to top speed by the end of that 40-yard dash is slower, right? So we want to have the most amount of momentum coming directly out of your first step, because that's the biggest change in rate of speed in a 40-yard dash. You're going from still, static, 0 to now a high percentage in just one step. So we want to take that 0 to 10, we define that as the positive change in rate of speed, and get you up to the fastest mile per hour possible within 10 yards. Now, here's the other thing that a lot of people don't know. The 40-yard dash was put together, and the NFL Combine was put together by a private study group way back when. What that private study group found was that an athlete, an elite level athlete, hits their max velocity at about 36 meters, which is exactly right around 40 yards. So this is again showing us that this is an acceleration test, right? If you hit 24 miles an hour, 25 miles per hour, that's great. But if you can't get yourself up to it quickly, you can't get yourself up to it fast, you are not usable to a college team, an NFL team, because in football, acceleration is the most coveted attribute. It's the most important attribute. You can look right here by Dr. Ken Clark, right here at the SMU Locomotor Performance Lab. Takes a look at some data, the 10-yard dash, 20-yard dash, 40-yard dash, the correlation to max velocity. Now, same thing happens here with your 10 to 40-yard splits. Different 40-yard dash times, right? Athlete A versus athlete B. But what are we looking at? Right, we're looking at better 10s. So their splits are the same at 3.05, but just by improving that 10-yard dash by 1/10 of a second, that 40-yard dash time looks completely different. Now, you could say in your head, well, I'm just going to focus on the back end of it. I'm just going to focus on this part of it. I don't want to focus on the 10. Yeah, you can do that. But the back end of your run, if you want to do the last 10 yards or the last 20 yards, has the smallest amount that you can actually shave off. Because if you want a big amount to shave off, meaning you go from your average 10 on the back end of 20 miles per hour, which is about 1.9 seconds, to drop that to drop your time to a 1.7 or a 1.8, or just a 10th of a second from a 1.9 to a 1.8 is a significant increase in your miles per hour, when you could just shave that off in the first 10 yards. Now, 80% rule. It's by Mike Boyle, very famous in the strength and conditioning community. 80% of elite 40-yard dash prep is trained at 10 yards. The people who do this well know this. They know that the 10-yard dash builds the 40. They know that a faster 10 equals a faster 40. And here's the main thing that I want to get across to all of you, is that in that first 10 yards, you can push. You can get in a large amount of reps, a large amount of volume. You can really perfect that part of your race. If you transition and you go, okay, well, I'm just going to run max velocity all the time. Max velocity is something that depletes the central nervous system, right? So your CNS is absolutely fried, is absolutely cooked. That means that your muscle contractions are happening slower. That means that your actual brain-to-body connection is happening slower. That means that your overall force of your output is lower than it normally would be if you consistently run at max speeds. And again, we know that by running at max speeds often, you're not actually shaving that much off of your time. But with a 10-yard dash, you're focusing primarily on acceleration. You can do multiple sessions during a week and not have any major fatigue or major fall off. So, how do we actually take time off your 10-yard dash? This is the 5 mechanical essentials. This is what we focus on here at Klemic Performance Method. These are the things that are actually going to make you run faster. Firstly, triple extension, right? Hip, knee, ankle. You need to perfect fully pushing your body away from the ground. The ground is undefeated. It's the immovable object that you push against in order to move your body forward. If you can push hard against the ground, you can horizontally push out very efficiently, very actively. Now, this triple extension sequence, right, is seen all throughout sports. You use triple extension every single down on a football field. Every single time that you're training, your vertical leap, triple extension, your broad jump, triple extension. Great athletes can push themselves into triple extension with ease. It's a movement pattern that's ingrained into them, right? So that's very important, getting off that line. Shin angle. So we're going to look right here at the actual shin of this athlete. You can see that the shin angle is low, right? It says elite drive phase, 14 degrees shin angle at initial push, meaning that the shin angle is low. The shin dictates direction. If you have high shins, you will be creating forces that go vertical out of your start. When we know that our hip and our center of mass, which is right here on the athlete, needs to be traveling horizontally. You do not want to get stuck staying vertical, because instead of going this way, going out horizontally, you're then traveling up. So now we have an inefficiency in your trajectory of pushing out of the actual start, which is going to lead you to a slower time. This is very important, again, in your 10-yard dash, because why? We want to be traveling horizontally and efficiently to unlock that 10-yard dash and run faster times. Stiff ankle complex. This is very, very important as well. The ankle, right, is your suspension. If you have a very good suspension, you're in a luxury car, you float over potholes, you don't feel anything, the ride is great. If you have a loose ankle complex, which is a major problem, you feel every pothole. Your foot actually collapses when it touches the ground and your heel strikes the ground, which is basically just a force leak or a power leak right into the ground. It's a complete energy loss into the ground. So now the force you've created with this big, strong upper leg and triple extension pushing into the ground is now being first the ankle and then the heel, so it's more contact, and you're dropping and leaking so much energy into the ground, which is, again, inefficient. So that stiff ankle complex is important. We call it the calf complex, right? That's your Achilles tendon, your soleus, your gastroc, your anterior tibialis. Very important. Yes. Yeah, man, just interrupt during the video, dude. You're good. You're good, man. That's why we have an office. The stiff ankle complex. Okay, very important right there. You want to make sure that the Achilles tendon is very strong. The soleus, the calf, the anterior tibialis are very bouncy. Now, this isn't going to be worked just through calf raises. This is going to be worked through very bouncy plyometrics, okay, at all different intensity zones. Short, slow plyos, meaning just bounces on pogos, high plyos, high bounces on pogos, hurdles. There's a variety of different ones. But you can take a look right here. Research 2024 NFL draft prospects, ground contact time, not force, not body composition, was the strongest predictor of a 40-yard dash improvement, which means, again, ground contact time is important. Now we can go into the nuance of that, meaning obviously in your first 10 yards, you're going to be on the ground longer than you would be in your last 10 yards, right? Because you're spending more time on the ground to push and create momentum, whereas on the back end, you're spending more time in the air, less time on the ground because you're floating and pulling very quickly. High knee drive. This is overlooked all the time. I guarantee you, every single one of you right here know what the high knee drive is. You do track drilling, you know all of that, but you don't know the actual muscle that is responsible for high knee drive, which is the psoas, the muscle that lifts the knee. You can take a look here at all of the functions of the psoas, right? Faster recovery, the knee comes through quickly. This shortens the time between strides. It also opens your strides. And one thing that nobody talks about with this muscle being strong is that not only is it better for faster recovery, but when you have that faster recovery, you can then lean more because your foot gets through faster, so you can attack the ground faster. So now we can lean more into our run and create better mechanical advantage, so we have better horizontal projection out. Stride frequency, front side power, set up a violent downstrike that produces horizontal force. If you look at that last bullet point. Very important. The higher you lift your knee, the more force you can put into the ground. So training that psoas through a variety of different systems, I shouldn't even say systems, so a variety of different movements and exercises, and just retraining the brain, which is the computer, the program to your body, over and over and over again to lift the knee above what we call the transverse plane consistently, will then lead you to, when you go to sport or when you go to train or when you go to combine, the brain remembering that movement pattern, the brain remembering that pathway, and then actually using it and executing it when you have to run a 40-yard dash. We talk about the psoas here. Sprinters have significantly larger psoas muscles than the general population. Extremely important right there. That's the muscle that lifts the knee. That's what's leading this athlete right here in this run to drive his knee up above the transverse plane in a great triple extension with a large range of motion. Mechanical advantage. We talked about that a little bit But when you have triple extension, you have low shin angle, you have a stiff ankle complex, you have the high knee drive, and you have the psoas power to be able to do all of that, you can create mechanical advantage. And that is where the clock actually drops, when you create good horizontal projection and you put forces in the right direction, because that's the name of the game in the 40-yard dash. I can give you a 50-inch vertical leap, but if you can't horizontally use that force and you can't push yourself out, then all that force is basically useless, okay? We can continue to improve your vertical leap to 50, 80, 100 inches if we wanted to, right? But if you can't put that force in the right direction, it is worthless for you. So take time off your 10-yard dash, new videos daily, subscribe, train to get faster, yeah. That's just the last slide. Your job is now, if you want to apply what this video is to your 10-yard dash, the first thing you can do is just start running more 10s. Okay, the fastest way to get faster is to run fast. Super simple, super easy. The problem is people don't tell you to do that because there's not much money in just sprinting out every day, because you can do that for free. So if you just start by training and sprinting the 10-yard dash every day, or at least 2-3 times a week, you'll have dramatic results. All you have to do is focus on leaning more and pushing back. All right, again, that's just going out there, running your 10, leaning more and pushing back into the ground to have your body actually travel forward. Stay tuned for our next video. Like it if you like it, and see you guys again soon.